Sims, let's go.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're watching the GSL Talk Show. Tonight, we're going to be chatting with Miss Rebeccah Silence, so stay tuned.
Yeah, it's a miracle, baby. Shot chill, Miracle Sims, let's go. Yeah, it's a miracle, baby. Shot chill, Miracle Sims.
But I'm not the type of girl that goes.
Yeah, it's a miracle, baby. Shot
Wishing I would have a one night affair.
Welcome back to the GSL Talk Show. As you can see, I'm here with the lovely Miss Rebeccah Silence. How are you doing?
I am so well, and I am so excited to talk about God and love and sex. This is
Ooh.
good. Let's go.
Yes, we're excited to have you. Welcome to the GSL Talk Show.
Thank you.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
So I'm in Boulder, Colorado. I'm I like to say the space where all healing is possible.
Mm,
My story is a little bit of a wild one. And I think everyone has experienced love trauma on some level.
mm,
I had my own version of that growing up in a domestic violence addictive home with a lot of sexual abuse, including from family members. And
wow.
then, what I think is so wild and unique about my story is I knew from a very young age, okay, love shouldn't hurt and there has to be a better way. But just
Mm,
because I understood and devoted my life to learning about trauma, it wasn't enough to understand it. I found
mm,
myself in my 20s in my own domestic violence marriage with a
mm.
counseling master's degree that had a 4.0 GPA. I got it, but I didn't know how to break the cycle yet, right? Because
Mm,
re-experience and attract what we haven't healed yet and what we're still
mm,
a vibrational match for. And I was still self-abusing, which meant I was a vibrational match. And like so many people, unconsciously, I just thought family and love meant all of this nonsense. And I thought abuse and love and all of it went together like peanut butter and jelly. And it just
mm,
so it took me getting out of a domestic violence marriage with a 2-year-old and becoming a single broke, going bankrupt, and having no confidence or self-worth single mom to
mm,
figure out, wait a minute. No, no, no. We can heal love trauma fully. We can
mm,
break generational trauma cycles,
mm,
and we can have the love story and a spiritual love story with God in
mm,
the mix,
mm.
even if we've never seen it done before.
Well, I mean, look, I'm sure there's a lot that we can dive into with that introduction. I
I
mean,
mean, you want to know who I am? Let me tell you. Yes.
yes. Well, I'm glad that to see you on this other side today, sounding, very positive. Seems like you have, great wisdom to share with us about all these things. I'm sure it wasn't the easiest thing to live through. Um, but man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming and being open, honest, transparent about your journey.
Thank you. I am a wide open book. So this platform and this show is talking about what I wish everybody would talk about that we just don't talk about enough. So I am here for it and ready to go deep, Miracle.
Ah, well, listen, look, confirmation. Every now and then, God will send me somebody to pour into me. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is so
I
good.
appreciate it. Oh man, so I hate to, I don't know if it's going to be a cause of pain or whatever the case may be, but I mean, if you want to start at the beginning, we are all ears. Tell us about growing up in such a household that you've mentioned to us.
Yeah, I grew up scared all the time. I was scared and I didn't know anything different, right? Like all of
Mm,
us, we grow
mm,
up thinking this is what family is and it's normal because it's our normal. So
mhm,
I grew up really in that role of lost child.
mhm,
But I didn't know that's what it was even until I would say my late 20s. I would have never called myself the lost child because I was, you know, kind and loving and in multiple theater productions. Like I wasn't an extrovert, but I was on stage and I knew how to put myself out there. But my voice and my needs, that's going to make things go from worse to terrible. So my first marriage, I married a guy with the last name Silence, which is so interesting because at that time I was still committed to silence. I thought
Mm,
silence would make things worse.
mm,
And I didn't understand that my voice was medicine until much
mm,
later. So I just want to say to everybody out there, your voice is medicine, and your only job really is to break the silence in your family and in yourself and in your life. And nobody's going to die when you tell the truth about what you need and what you want and how you feel. And, you know, I also just grew up in a family system where women were submissive to men and had no power. And interestingly, once I got out of my domestic violence marriage and decided to get certified as a coach and to start my own practice, I ended up back in the community where I grew up, got on the radio, which 14 years later, I'm still on the radio. And my whole mission in getting on the radio was I was going to wake up the women in this patriarchal community. And we had over 150 women start businesses in that community through working with me. And I just want us to not be afraid of our power and of our voices. And my childhood was a childhood where I wanted to be as invisible as possible. And I'm grateful to have that contrast and for every part of my story. And I just know there's no trauma we can't use to our advantage, and there's no past that can't heal.
mm. Oh man, so much resonates with me. I know people already, well, I guess if you watch this platform, y'all should know me already. But if not, I caught the theater bug, a long time ago too. So I could resonate with that. And I do think theater was one of those therapeutic things for me to express myself, as you mentioned. Um, because I too felt like younger me made the observation that when I speak, it's like it's World War III or something, you know what I mean? But everybody else can, like, these other kids can go slam doors, talk back, all this other type of stuff. But if I even look like I'm about to say something wrong or whatever, it's you stand in a child's place, you be quiet. Like, it just was very like I needed to shut up type of thing growing up, to where it silenced me too, for however many years and whatnot. So I had to find alternative ways to express myself. I did that through, yeah, performing was one of those things. Writing was another thing, like just keeping a journal and just writing all my thoughts there, poetry, just finding alternative ways to express myself and get the thoughts out of my head versus like
Mhm.
saying it, because it seemed like anytime I said or made an observation or whatever, it would just turn into this big, huge thing. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of what you just said definitely resonates with me. Because I've been there. I've been there. And not to say anything about, I'm sure parents and whatnot, they're doing the best they can. I'm not saying anything in regards to that. I just feel like for me, when I think about my situation, I feel like it definitely was a spiritual attack against who I am today. Because like I'm literally every morning getting up and doing daily inspiration. All I'm doing is talking and sharing whatever I studied in the Bible that morning. You know what I mean? So it's like, of course, the enemy tried to shut me up years ago. And so who
Right?
knows what was lost in between those silent years to now, when I'm like, I'm just gonna, be consistent. It doesn't matter how many people's watching, doesn't matter how many followers I got. I'm just gonna do this thing. And not knowing that it would lead me to be here talking to you today and all the other amazing things that have happened since. So I mean, I get it now. I didn't really get it then growing up. Like, why every time I say something, it seems like it's you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
why I got to be treated like that? I don't even think I'm the bad. I don't think I was a bad kid or anything. Like I just felt like anyway, man. We ain't talking about me. We talking about you. So
No, but it's all of us, right? And what you're saying about our parents, I think, is so important because I think if you're here, if you're watching this show, chances are you're what I call the generational healer in your family. And the
mm,
generational healer in the family is so sensitive and cares so much and wants so much for everybody. And this isn't to knock our parents. Our parents are
mm,
products of generational trauma,
mm,
and they are doing better than what they experienced. But
mm,
the generational healer sees what nobody else can see. So often the generational healer thinks something's wrong with them and they must be wrong or bad or confused because nobody else seems to see it. And the vision you have for yourself, what has kept me going is knowing I'm not going to let my past win. And I'm going to have the extraordinary dream of marriage and family and God and love and sex that I always imagined I could have. And it doesn't mean anybody else has to understand it or agree with me. It just means this is my mission because this is something I want. And it's okay to want what nobody else around you wants to. And it's okay to see and own and step into possibility that you've never seen before. And to be the one to go first and to raise your hand and go, I know where that path leads. That's the Taylor Swift lyric, right? Like, I've seen this film before. I know how it ends. I don't want that, right? Great. Blaze a trail you've never seen before. You're not going to die. You're going to get what you want if you just stay in the game. I promise you, especially with the right support.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just over here at the amen corner right now because I mean, definitely it sounds like you're talking about my life to a certain extent in a lot of ways because yeah, again, all the things you just said definitely resonates with me because I, lately, I guess since I've been doing this, or for example, the daily inspiration that I do, look, you're right. I feel like I see and hear things that people aren't seeing and hearing. And I know it's biblical. It's already like, okay, they're blinded. The enemy has done it. Okay. But then I just get so confused sometimes because I'm like, okay, but we reading the same Bibles, I thought. Like, why is everybody getting different? And then you're not seeing the stuff happening right now. The world is crazy. I'm not. And so the only thing, I know people talk a lot about titles. And I know I've said this before. So sorry, GSL people. Y'all see me all the time. Oh, well. But long story short, like, I feel like what you just mentioned is what I guess resonate with in regards to the only title that I even feel comfortable saying or calling myself right now is like Watchmen, because I do feel like I'm seeing and hearing things and I'm trying to share it and be like, hey, I see and hear this, you know what I mean? And it's like I see things down the line or whatever, like you mentioned a second ago. And you do feel crazy sometimes because it's like, well, I mean, why don't you see it? Like, you ain't see it right. It's right here. Like, that type of thing. And so, I mean, if you talk about, again, yes, spiritual warfare, if you talk about like stuff that be going on in your family or whatever it is, like you could just you see it and you hear it, like you say, and it just makes you feel like the weird one or the sore thumb sticking out. And it's like, well, am I wrong or am I right? Like, Lord, help me with this, So that's why I try to get some understanding about those different things. But sounds like we're familiar territory here. I mean,
Well,
I
and
don't know if you consider
you're not
yourself a
crazy.
watchman as well, but yeah.
Nobody out here listening is crazy. None of us are crazy. We've been given access to a dream of what love can be. And what a gift. And it's our job to make that happen for ourselves. And I think it's so important to own that, because if we need other people to get it or to approve or to validate giving us permission, our life's going to come and go. Someday isn't going to come where all of a sudden it's safe to own this dream of love the way we imagined it could be. So I'm just going to say someday is now. You're not crazy. Own this dream of love and actualize it for you. The only consent you need is from yourself, because God's already given you the consent.
Girl, you've been tapping into stuff. I feel like over the past couple of weeks, I've been reminded of that as well, where it's like, I guess the analogy that I had or what was given to me was kind of like, we've already been put on this solid rock and this solid foundation. It's like, I took you out the mud, I took you out the muck, I took you out of all of that, and you're here. And it's like we're trying to find new legs. We're like, wait, where's the mud? You know what I mean? Like, where's the mud? And it's like we try to go back to that thing because we're like, that's what we're used to. But it's like, you're not there anymore. It's already done. Like, just accept it. But some of us are so, it's hard to accept, I guess. But anyway, girl, we can sit here and be going back and forth. But I would love for you to share with us more about what you were saying in regards to, like, you said that you went and got the education, right? But you still found yourself in the situation where you're like, I knew, but at the same time, it was like I didn't know, because here I am in it. And I feel like I've been there too in some cases. Unfortunately, I think back on my ex, things of that nature and stuff. It's like I went through this whole what I call the cultivation period, and this time of my single years where I was really trying to focus on God and like, Lord, what do you want from me? Where's my husband? All that type of stuff. And he was showing me things and all this type of stuff. And then ultimately, he pushed me back to Georgia, and I ended up in this relationship where I was pretty much just being mentally and verbally abused. And um, it was like the longest adult relationship that I had at that time, like maybe like a year or so. And we was getting into 2 years, and we were talking about marriage and all this type of stuff until the point where God was just pretty much like, y'all ain't never gonna have no understanding. What are you gonna do? And I'm like, I guess I've been trying my best to love you and accept you for you, right, and all these things. But who's gonna love me right now? Because you're not doing your part, and that's where we went other ways. And obviously, God, had my house around the corner, literally, and here we are today. But so I get it in regards to like knowing, right? You got all that wisdom and knowledge and stuff, and then you still end up in situations where you're like, how did I end up here? I knew better, or whatever the case may be. I would love to hear, how was that for you? How was it getting out? And I mean, obviously, we can see a little bit of taste of what it is like today, but I'm here for all of it.
Yeah, no, I think this is so important because we attract what we haven't healed yet. I've been in private practice 16 and a half years now, thousands and thousands of success stories in my private practice work. And if I hadn't gone through understanding that understanding trauma wasn't enough and how to actually break the cycle, I'd never be able to support people in not just surviving the unimaginable, but healing it fully. And they teach you in grad school, in counseling training, you can't actually help people fully heal. They teach you that you can help them manage and you can help them cope and you can help them understand, but they don't teach you how to heal. So let me give you a little masterclass on how to actually heal. So number one thing is you have to understand you're attracting what you haven't healed yet. Until you heal it, there's no life beyond it. Healing to me is freedom. It means the scar is healed. There's no wound anymore. There's a scar there, but it's healed. When the wound is still exposed, life is going to stick its finger in the wound and dig around and help, escalate things until you actually get there's a wound to heal, right? So people want love and they love love, but they don't want to attract the wound anymore. So that's such a double bind, right? So for me, I had to live through recreating my childhood so I could heal my childhood. We don't get to skip that part. Now, you can do it in a way where you don't have to make it as turbulent and painful, maybe, as what I went through. But we have to understand, wait a minute, we are, as adults, as if we're unfulfilled and dissatisfied, as unfulfilled and dissatisfied as we were growing up until we break through. So there's a direct correlation between how you feel now at home and in your relationships versus how you felt growing up. But we think this is different people. We think this is different, but we recreate and re-experience family the way we did growing up until we break through and go, I've just become who I was again growing up. I became my mom. I became my dad. I attracted my mom. I attracted my dad. We've got to understand it's okay to be more you. And until you're more you, instead of defaulting to, I have to be less me until it's acceptable by this person. No, we've got to be more you. So maybe you're experiencing betrayal in your relationships now. There was betrayal growing up. So now you're in a pattern. And now it's time to break the pattern. So attraction 101 is what you haven't healed yet. Okay. The second thing to understand is your emotions are the access point to you fully expressed and free. Your emotions are the access point to you being fully expressed and free. And where things went south in childhood, and again, this isn't to bash our parents. This is just to go, if you want better, you have to do better, and nobody's going to give you permission. It's a decision. And nobody is going to ever give you permission to be fully expressed emotionally. And it's never going to be safe. It's so sad to me when people tell me, I can't be me with these people. This person I can be me with. These people I can't be me with. I'm like, you're picking and choosing who you can be you with and when it's safe to be your best and who deserves you at your best.
Mm.
And how about we're just you and the best of you everywhere you go?
Mm. Mm.
How about that? And how do you be you wherever you go with whoever's in front of you? You have a much healthier relationship with your emotions. Because when we're emotionally clogged up and funky, there's no relationship anyway. They're dealing with the shell of you. There's no relationship there,
Mm.
right? So I teach there's only 5 emotions. Everything else is learned and how we feel about what's going on around us. So there's a difference between your feelings about the external world and the emotions deep down that you need to feel. And this is how we get beyond attraction 101, just attracting the wounds, right? So there's anger, there's fear, there's grief, there's joy, and there's excitement. Anger, grief, fear, joy, excitement. These are the emotions a baby's born with. These are naturally occurring human emotions. And we learned growing up that we're too sensitive or that our emotions are too much. And we learned which ones are okay and which ones aren't. And it's super confusing. And I'm here to make it very simple, not easy, but simple. These emotions aren't caused by anyone, they're not caused by anything. And they're totally healthy. So I'm just going to say, until you have a healthy relationship with anger, fear, grief, joy, and excitement, you're not going to be free.
Mm.
And when you can navigate your own emotional landscape unapologetically and fearlessly, you're not free.
Mm. Look, 101, man. All right. I know, look, I know you can't give it all to us for free now, but I mean,
Oh, I'm going to give
we
you
appreciate
everything
the
I
crash
want.
course.
I don't hold the goodness behind a paywall. Like, I want people fully expressed and free. And my book, Coming Back to Life, I did a really good job in chapter 2. Thank you, God, because I just plugged into God and God helped me find the words, you know? I don't take all the credit. But chapter 2 of my book is how do you process your emotions without taking them out on anyone or blaming them on anyone?
Mm.
Because until that anger, fear, grief relationship changes, you don't get to have joy and excitement as the rule you live by. And all you're seeing is someone who has joy and excitement as the rule I live by.
Mm.
And if I need to process grief, I cried so much yesterday. I'm not worried about it. It's just emotional weather.
Mm.
You know, it's so funny. I was sitting in this chair back here in my office yesterday crying for a second. My husband was going outside to go for a run and I literally had snot everywhere. And he's just like, goes for his run. I mean, it's so normalized in my house. Like nothing's wrong. Oh, that's just Rebeccah.
Mm.
What would that be like to be that free and fully expressed and unapologetic about it?
Mm. It's good. It's good. Oh man. So look, so many thoughts and questions there, but I mean, well, so obviously we know you've achieved your goals, right, of having love and things of
Mm,
that nature. So we want to
so
hear more about that too. But first, can you tell us about, like, so what made you kind of go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to get more, not only just book knowledge about this, but I'm going to start coaching people. I'm going to start,
yeah, yeah,
tapping into these gifts and whatnot from what I've learned and things like that.
yeah.
What got you on this path that you're on today?
Well, I left a domestic violence marriage with a 2-year-old, and I
Mm-hmm.
was drinking way too much, and I was
Mm-hmm.
bulimic, and I had no self-esteem, and I was going to be damned if I was going to stay that version of me and have her grow up with me as that mom. I was like, she deserves better. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have the self-worth yet to do it for me, quite honestly. So I had my child as a carrot. And what I tell people is it starts with a commitment to life, to living like you're going to live and to living fully. And then find something to live for. What are you living for that's bigger than you? So in the moments you don't want to do it for yourself, you have a reason to keep going. Because I
Mm-hmm.
did not have it in me to do it for
Mm-hmm.
me yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the honest truth. So then I got help and I got excited about learning, and I found a coach that was actually facilitating inner child breakthrough in a way I had never seen before. Because it's this simple. So that there's a trigger, right? If we're off or upset or feeling threatened, we're triggered. If we're wounded, we're triggered, which means we're being reactivated. So I was a mess, still scared of my own shadow, couldn't sleep at night. Now I have this kid and I'm responsible and I'm on my own. And I knew I wasn't going to get child support. My first husband signed his rights away. So I was a full-time single mom with no help, and I knew that was something that I couldn't change. And I just had to become somebody who could handle it. Even if I was afraid I couldn't, I knew I had to become somebody that could, right? So this coach was helping me see, okay, a trigger is a pattern and it's an experience that we're having. And I can have whatever experience I want to have, even if situations and circumstances don't change. Who knew? So there's a pattern, and all you got to do to heal the pattern is heal the stuck age and heal the stuck emotion and make a commitment to a new experience. And I watched this woman masterfully facilitating trauma and breakthrough. And I ended up working for her and running her company because I just wanted to learn more. And then I found another coach that had a certification program, and she knew I had a master's in counseling already. And she wanted to know how her program compared. And it blew my master's out of the water. And so then I ran her company with her and certified a lot of coaches. I think 190 coaches or something like that went through that program. And I went full time after about 3 years. I was still working in schools as a school counselor and training and doing private practice on the side. And after about 3 years of that, I went full time and got on the radio and ended up separating from helping other people with their programs and services and just went all in with my own. And, it's just been such a blessing to coach so many amazing people and couples and families through their love drama into having the love story that they desire. And it was about at the time that I went full time that I ended up getting with my husband now. He was my sister's husband's best friend. And my sister said, "You have the worst taste in men. Can I just encourage you to consider this guy over here?" And I was like, "No, he's a farmer. He's, hairy and shorter than my typical type." And I was such a snob. I was like, "No, he does not fit the bill." Well, I had an 11-page list of everything I wanted in a guy. And when I really thought about it, I was like, who meets everything on this list? And gave him a shot. He had his own list. I tried to scare him off. Date 3, I showed him my 11-page list. And he was like, "You want to see my list?" He had a half-page list, not nearly as long as mine, but he had his own list. So we got engaged 3 months in, and it's a dream come true.
I love love stories.
And we've been
Awesome. Well, look, shout out to hubby, you know what I'm saying? Those husbands come in handy every now and then. I be thanking God for mine every day. I say this all the time, but we're not perfect or anything like that. But I do believe like he's perfect for me, and I think that's something I definitely am thanking God for every day. And I think I made a good decision with that one. He's really good.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. It doesn't have to be two inner children that are wounded and unhealed in relationship playing out patterns, and then you leave each other and then you do it all over again with the next person, right? We want two healed adults in charge of the mission called your marriage or your relationship. And it means you've got to take ownership and face your triggers without putting it on the other person to be the cure, or they're the cause, so I'm going to eliminate them. No, you get self-responsible for your healing, and this person gets to be a spiritual teacher and healer for you, helping you see how healed you are and how healed you're not and where your work is.
Good Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm thinking as well that it seems like you've become a great woman for your daughter to look up to. I mean, yeah, I know that was something you was concerned about in the beginning. And so how is that going? How's motherhood and whatnot?
It's so interesting you ask me that because it's a ride, right? I had to reconcile. My oldest is now 19 and my youngest is 9. And then my husband has an older child that's 23. So we have 3 between the 2 of us, one together. And particularly with my 19-year-old, I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I had to get my metrics of success can't be her behavior or her choices.
Mm.
She's an adult.
Mhm.
She gets to choose. She has free will. She has agency, right? I know with all my heart, I am someone that I can be proud of. I am a mom I can be proud of. And we're just at an age and stage in her life where she's dancing through her fire and trying to figure it out. So it isn't always, just like marriage isn't always perfect. The metric of success can't be, okay, this person is behaving perfectly and now I know I did my job. But what do I know for sure? My child has a mom who is clear. She has a healed mom. She has a confident mom. She has unconditional love and unconditional belief and unconditional regard and respect for her free will and agency from me. And from there, that I define as success as a mom.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, that's priceless. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people that feel like they're motherless and fatherless, even if they have their mothers and fathers alive, or things of that nature. And so, I'll be praying for that situation. I don't know what's going on, but regardless, like, I'll be proud. You know what I mean? It seems like again, you came from, like as we talked about a second ago, the muck and the mire, and you was able to build the life and whatnot that I feel like God had for you. So, I mean, congratulations on all ends, man. And we know that younger. I mean, my kid's 5 and he already think I don't know nothing and he know everything. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes kids got to go through their own stuff and whatnot. And you're right, she's an adult, but I'm sure you're there, right, when she needs you and things like that. And that I guess that's all that really, I
Yeah.
say, matters. But that, yeah.
Absolutely. I am there, and that is constant and consistent. But I
Mm.
think it's so much healthier to be parents who want our kids to be who they are, not who we expect them to be.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
that's my wish for my kids, that you get to be who you are, not who you are expected to be.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. So then you mentioned that you are an author as well. I would
Yeah.
love for you to tell us about your book, inspiration, how's
Yeah.
it going, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So my book is called Coming Back to Life, and it is my journey. And I use my story to connect you to yours. And I'm trying to show you where patterns show up that you might never have put together. It's a pattern.
Mm.
And at the end of every chapter, I have exercises for you and experiences to take on your most healed and fulfilled and fully expressed self, so you can have your most healed and fulfilled and fully expressed life. And I call it Coming Back to Life. Part of my wild story, we've talked about the domestic violence already, but you know, I'll say it like this. I thought that beating my past was done when I found my husband and when I got on the radio and when my business took off pretty much overnight and I had a 6-month wait list and I was able to serve at the highest levels on the radio. I became a pillar in this community really, really quickly. And I thought, okay, this means I beat my past. Well, then I got pregnant with my second baby and I got diagnosed with cancer. And I had been
Mm.
coaching a plastic surgeon and his wife, and they said, you're here to save our marriage, and you have saved our marriage, but you have this mole on your arm. And we need you to come into the office at 7 a.m. tomorrow and let us take care of it. Long story short, I had a malignant melanoma and a 5% chance to live. If I hadn't done all the emotional healing work and trauma work I'd done, I wouldn't have been the healed me when it came time to lead through cancer. And,
Mm.
I didn't call the book Coming Back to Life because I beat cancer with a 5% chance to live. I called it this because every client I've ever had tell me I help them come alive.
Mm.
And I just want us to know, again, our metrics of success are so wonky. So often it's not about like, this is over. It's about, I know how to stay me through it all. I
Mm.
know how to be the best of me, and I know how to be emotionally regulated through it all. So this book is my roadmap to help you heal from pain to create the life you want, how to be the you want to be, making the best of every moment you're in because you've chosen to be your best. I knew when I got diagnosed with cancer, it is so easy to be my best when my life is a dream come true on paper.
Mm.
How about when everything just seems like the bottom fell out of my life and everything I thought I had disappeared like that? Who am I going to be now? And I just knew cancer would be the ultimate seminar for me to meet myself and God on a whole next level. And that's exactly what happened. So the book is my story to help you step into your story on a whole next level so you can create your comeback story, whatever that looks like for you. And the book's won a couple of awards and we've sold about 10,000 copies and it's available. And it would mean so much to me for you to get your heart and your hands on this book. And you can go to RebeccahSilence.com, Rebeccah has an H, RebeccahSilence.com. Order it there. You can order it anywhere books are sold.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad. Congratulations on all of those achievements, the health, the book, things of that nature as well, the coaching and all that good stuff. I would love for you to share with us, just, how are things going? I know you've already, I guess, told us about some of the awesome reviews you've received from all the things you've been doing. But I mean, I would love to, for you to give us a little update of how things are going now that you're on this path. Maybe even, I don't know if you have an interesting journey or story to tell us about any of that. And yeah, anything else you feel free to
Yeah.
share at this point.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just want people to know there's no trauma that can't fully heal and there's no case that can't fully heal. And for me, I guess what I'll say is I've had to face my biggest fears over and over and over again. And there's something magical and miraculous about surviving, having to live and face and move through and conquer your greatest fears. So I just want you to know, whatever it is, face it so that you can move through it and conquer it and come out the other side celebrating. And to me, every day of my life is on my terms. I do what I want, when I want, how I want, and that's my life. And that, if it sounds good to you, is accessible. It really is possible. And I'd be honored to be your coach, whether it's via reading a book, going to my YouTube channel, taking my course, or hiring me privately. But I just want you to know that the life you've imagined is available. And in this season, I'm doing a lot more media. I will be on the streaming service of United Airlines this fall for a segment of a show I did. We're working on taking the work I do with couples and families and pitching it to networks and turning it into a show where people can heal in real time while they watch. That's my big dream I'm up against right now. But I just want to reach as many people as possible. And I want kids to have healed parents. And I want people to be the version of themselves that's their highest and wisest and best. And if you can survive survival, you can survive alignment. Nobody's going to die because you get brave enough to be true to yourself. And we don't have to wait for things to get worse. You don't need a breakdown to break through. You can just decide it's time to fully live.
That's so good. That is good. So how can the people get in touch with you?
Yeah, check me out at RebeccahSilence.com for sure. Send me a message. Let me know your biggest takeaway from this show if you're listening. You absolutely can have access to my free gift that you can get at RebeccahSilence.com. My masterclass, The 3 Must-Know Secrets to Heal and Save Your Family. You can access it and get going, as soon as you opt into my world. That's probably the best next step for people is get the book and get my masterclass, The 3 Must-Know Secrets to Heal and Save Your Family. And let me take you on a journey and guide you into what you do have control over. So often when it comes to God and love and sex, we're trying to focus on what's outside of us that we need to be different for us to feel okay. And my work is about, we don't need to touch any of that outside of you. We need to go deep inside and focus on what you do have control over so you can be liberated even in some of the darkest or most challenging, scary moments or seasons of your life. And I just think life is supposed to be good. and we are meant to receive the good. And I think God wants us to receive the good. And I think as much as we're all here as master givers, it's okay to go, all right, God, I'm ready to be a master receiver too. And in my experience, that requires doing some deep work, some deep emotional work, and some deep identity work. And that's what I'm here to offer you.
Is there anything else you want to share with us before you go?
You know, just be careful with each other's hearts. Don't give up on love. Let yourself have it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you spending time with us, Miss Rebeccah. Thank you so much for visiting us.
Thank you, Miracle. Thank you for the show. Thank you to all of you listening. Love you.
Wishing I would have a one-night affair.
Thank you so much for watching the GSL Talk Show, and thank you to Miss Rebeccah for joining us tonight. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Check out her book, her masterclass, and the rest of her endeavors. Have a good night.